Do you want to stay up to date with the messiest drama on the internet? Or what about those crazy viral challenges? Then be sure to tune in to TMZ Verified, the podcast. I'm Wild.
I'm Steph.
And each week we're either breaking down the spicy viral stories or we're hanging out with the most popular influencers around. Tana Mojo is in the building.
I don't even know if they're hating. They're probably just telling the truth, but we love the haters too.
Sophia Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk, but let's be real with each other, you know?
Bryce Hall is here, y'all. Make some noise, people.
I'm single, by the way.
Right.
So if you like viral drama, influencer culture, and just overall hot messiness, check out new episodes of TMZ Verified every Thursday right here on Spotify.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show. I'm gonna try to, well, I don't know. If I'm gonna be talking about this job again, it's gonna probably be another long episode. But I realized that there was more to talk about my old job when I was posting the first episode. And I was like, and it was like a last minute decision to make a part two. So, I did tell myself while uploading that episode that I was going to do a part two to this, talking on my, old job at working at that cafe. Because I felt like that I felt like I was still holding back. And I felt like that there were still things I could have talked on, some of my experiences with customers, some of the racist things that would go on there. Because that's one thing that I've heard from a lot of people that have worked there, that there is a lot of racist activities going on. So here's the thing. So I worked for this cafe. The cafe was separated from Nordstrom's, but a lot of Nordstrom's employees would come down because my cafe was a part of a building. So it was nothing but Nordstrom's, Amazon employees, mainly Amazon, because Amazon started buying out floors and stuff throughout that building. So there's employees, when you put two and two together, then employees were saying oh, I gotta go over to this location now because of Amazon. So Amazon was coming through, they were doing their thing. Amazon workers was chill. I can't really think of no crazy Amazon workers. There might have been some, and I just thought that they were Nordstrom's, but no, Nordstrom's, from what I've heard, from what I've experienced, there's a lot of racist stuff going on there. And it's crazy because you would think that you guys got a good job. Why? What's up with the, but when you think about it, it's good job, good money, bougie attitude. So yeah, a lot of people there, they did have attitude, but for the most part, there were people that did, work there that, they stood out more than the negative people. I will remember the cool people's faces first before I remember, somebody that was just giving me attitude every time. But no, there was a lot of people that was, that had, attitudes, and it was funny because there was the one people that they were, they had, this, executive, list, where these guys would get $10 off of anything that they purchased. So they were for the most part, they were chill. I think it was funny because it was the one time I think I had a problem with somebody. He was the guy. So his name was I think his name was John. I ain't gonna say his last name just to protect, his identity, but his name was John. And he was the guy that reported to the Nordstrom brothers. And I remember me and him, we had one minor issue where it was a misunderstanding. But after that, no, John was cool. John was always coming in there talking with me and stuff. So that's why I was all there was, if it's a situation like that where, things started off bumpy, but then we ended up being cool afterwards, I would respect that. But if it's a situation where I just started working there, we've had not one interaction outside of this place. This is legit my first time ever seeing you, and you're giving me attitude because I'm new. Legit, that was the reason why people would give you attitude there, is because you're new and you don't because my thing was I had never worked at a cashier. That was my I wouldn't want to say first official job, because I consider YouTube my first official job. That was the place that, I made, I got my first check was through YouTube. So I consider YouTube my first job, but then while working at that place, it was my side job. So YouTube, I couldn't really give YouTube my full attention because I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to wake up late or take days off. So I legit had to like push my career goals to the side for this place. Like, that's how time consuming that it was. Like, you think that a cafe job was just like some easy, simple job? No, it is not. Like, at least the job that I worked at, like that cafe, bro, I'm telling you, it was hectic. Like, and the thing is, it's like we had closed, so we opened at like maybe 8 o'clock, closed at like 2, 3. No, when did we close? No, we closed at 2. I was all like, dang, it's only been a year, and I'm already forgetting when we closed. But no, so we closed. So it wasn't like a all day, like, you know, like a second wave of people would come through. And then they would work like up until like in the middle of the night. Like, no, like we would close at 2 o'clock. And from like first hour to last, like, unless it was a slow day or business was just picking up a little slow, but like that middle portion of the day, hectic. Just hectic. And so at times, like, you know, I'll come, like, customers would come through, be all cool and stuff. But then there was customers with attitudes. And then there was customers that would make, like, little side racist comments. I'll never forget the one dude. That was, like, there was, like, a couple of, like, crazy comments that I got from people there. One wasn't racist, but one was, like, overall, like, talking about me. And it was only because I shortchanged the guy. Like, I think I had shortchanged him, like, 2-3 cents or something like that. So that guy, he tried being cool with me after he said this, but I was all like, no. It's like, you make a comment like that, I'm like, nah, fam, there ain't gonna be no me and you being cool and stuff. And it's like, cause I'm like, you seem like you kind of got like a bipolar thing going on. Like, you get mad at me cause I shortchanged you, and now all of a sudden you're trying to be cool. So I'm like, nah, I'm not with that. But no, so there was a time where I shortchanged this guy like 2-3 cents. And so I was kind of like, I messed up a little bit. I did. Like, I'll take the blame for that. Like, I will hands down 100%. When I mess up, I will take the blame for it. Like, there is not anybody in there. I'm not like, no, it ain't their fault. It's not their fault. This is my fault. All right. So I'll take the blame for my mistakes. So he gets mad. And then he looks me clean in my face and tells me that I should have paid for college. At that point, I was all like, look, bro, I could care less where you go. Don't come back in here no more. I wanted to say that. But that was one of the things that they told me when I started working there, because they knew me and they knew that I had an attitude issue. And yeah, they were just like, they made sure that they told me like, hey, you know, if a customer says something crazy or does something crazy, like, just let them, you know, just let them be crazy. All right. So I took that in. All right. And I held on to that is all the way up until my last days working there. It wasn't like anything crazy like happened, because I ended up losing that job due to COVID. So, yeah, it was like nothing like crazy. For the most part, I held my tongue when like a customer like was mad at me because they felt like I was overcharging them or shortchanged them or whatever. Because there was another time I remember a customer, he got mad because he thought I was overcharging him on fruit. And I'm like, bro, look, there's a sign right there that says like per ounce it is 60 cents. You got all that fruit in that cup, plus the water that's, like, inside the fruit. Do you not know how a scale and weight works? Like, I'm saying, like, you get mad at me for something that you did. So, I remember he was, like, all in my face yelling and things. And that point in time, I was all like, you know what? Best thing I can do is just ignore him. Like, the only thing that I can do to make a person upset there is ignore them. So I just looked at the next customer and was just like, hey, how's your day going? Moved on to them. I was just like, please say something. Please do something. At that point, I was like, I wanted him to say or do something. But nah, he kept it going and things. I can't remember if that was like the last time he came through there or something. But anyways, and then there was the one guy, I remember when, I think Spike Lee at some point in time, like it was maybe a couple of years ago, obviously not last year, but I think it was like a couple of, like, yeah, in 2019, like, didn't Spike Lee win some award or something like that? And I didn't really pay attention to it. Like, the only thing that I think I did pay attention to that day when Spike Lee won an award was his shoes. Like, he got, like, these, like, crazy dope, like, Jordans or something like that. And that was, like, really the only thing that mattered. I was like, I didn't really know too much about the award that he was winning and things, but no, I'm like, I'm working, customer comes up, he was like, yeah, your Uncle Spike Lee won an award last night. I'm like, my uncle? Like, when have I ever told what? I'm like, what are you talking? I'm like, man, you must got me confused with somebody else. But no, like people would say like some like side comments there, and I'm not like, what is you talking about? So then there was the customers that had like attitudes and stuff. I know I'll never forget when this one woman, she had so I was like, this was like around the time when I just started working there, and I think I said that in the last episode that the or the like the last like thing, or like last episode where I was talking on the cafe. But I think I did tell you like the register was old. Like that register was like straight just like in like 1960s Andy Griffin episode. Like, okay, maybe not that old, but it did like, it was a pretty old cash register compared to like cash registers today. Like, yeah, that was an extremely old cash register. That was like maybe like mid 90s. Like they probably was like coming out with a commercial for that cash register when I was born. And so I was like, yeah, that cash register was like old. So there, it would take a while to like void things out and like, you know, try to like put orders in and all that different stuff. And so the lady, she walks up, and that lady, every time when she come through, I was like, man, please, like, go to the other line or be like, oh, I'm just going to go to another place and get me something to eat. But please stop coming through here. At one point in time, she did. And I remember she came through like one last time, and then that was it. And I was like, thank God, I hope you found whatever job you was looking for, but please do not come through here no more. But so I'm like figuring out the register and stuff, and she's holding her card. Like that was like one of my biggest like pet peeves working at that place, is like when they don't say anything and then they just put their card in my face, and I'm like, okay, like even though like the virus wasn't a thing back then, I'm like, you just back up like 6 feet, all right, and I'll take your card when I'm ready. But like, please don't hold your card in my face. Don't do that. Don't even hold it like in my direction. Like just hold the card. When I put my hand out, that's when you put the card in my hand. But don't, I'm just, people, if you do that, if you're that type of person where you got hold your card out, stop it. Stop it. Like I'm saying, like that's why I'm trying to think like, do I do that? Because if so, like I'm going to do my best to not do it. Or I'm like, but my thing is like, I always go to like registers where it's like, I just do the stuff myself. So, you know, we didn't have a register like that. Like we had to register where it's like, we had to do everything. We had to type the price up, all that crap. So anyways, so she's standing there like holding her card in my face and things. And I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna just, you know, figure out this register and stuff. I'm gonna halfway ignore her. Like I'm gonna just, you know, when I feel ready to, that's when I'll take her credit card. But anyways, so then that's when I gave her a look, because then she starts shaking the card in my like face, or it's like not like in my face, but she starts like shaking the card, and I'm looking at, I gave her a look like, stop it, like don't do that, dude, please don't do that. I'm like, I just, you know, this job pays me a good amount of money, but they don't pay me enough to get disrespected. So I'm like, don't do that. I'm like, please do not do that. I will forget that I'm working here. And I will cuss you out. Like, I do not care at this point. So I was like, I really want to just do YouTube. So I'm all like, hey, that'd be a good YouTube video, like me going off on a customer. Because I'm like, hey, yo, like, I really could care less about your feelings. So if I say something, you start crying, oh, well. So anyways, so she does that. I give her a look. Then she stopped. And I was just like, yeah, I think you might want to stop that. Because I'm all like, when have you ever seen somebody do that? I'm all like, nobody. So I'm like, that's the thing that you do. I'm like, you do that with anybody else, but don't do that with me. But yeah, every time like she'll come through there, she always would give me an attitude. And I'm all like, I don't know what I did to you, but like, lady, if this is about me taking a long amount of time to take your card, I'm like, you stop it. I'm like, just stop it. Because I'm like, there is no reason to be mad at a person over some stuff like that. So what else? And then I think I didn't really have like too many like employees like that I worked with that did like crazy or wild stuff. I had to say, like, I think I did talk on her, was the only employee that I really got into it with, which is the cashier that I was working with when I very first started working there. And that was about it. But cooks, I'm trying to think, like, I think there was at times like where me and cooks, like certain cooks would bump heads. Like I remember there was one cook, because my thing is like, if you look at me like compared to the other guys, like I'm a small person. So this guy, I'm like, my thing is like, you're constantly carrying food left and right, doing all these different things. And then there was like a trash, and sometimes like trash bags will get heavy. And they always looked at me. There's like, oh, he's the youngest. I'm like, I am also the smallest. I'm like, I'm not big like the rest of you guys. Like some of you guys is like what, pushing 200 pounds and over 6 feet tall. I am under 6 feet tall, and I am barely pushing 140 pounds. Okay, like half these garbage bags. So I'll be sitting there like. I was like, I guess, like, I, like, at times, like, I would have the energy for it, but I'm like, after a long day where you guys got me literally running back and forth from building to building, like, oh my, man, I'm like, before, like, I'm gonna talk on that, because there was one incident where they had me going back and forth from buildings to deliver stuff, because the locations was, like, all on, like, in the same area. So, but I'm like, yeah, after a long day, I really don't feel like, carrying like trash bags left and right all over the place and things. So, once again, that was just, that was my attitude coming out and things. But as the time progressed on, like, I was more of a team player and things. Like, but me on the other hand, I would say I was more so of a solo person. But then, like, when there was just stuff like when they would ask me for help, that's why I'll be looking at them like, what you need my help for? I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, you look through all these people and then you pointed me out. I'm like, I don't understand. But I was just like, as the time progressed on, like when they asked me for help, I was like, oh yeah, sure. I'm like, I don't mind. I'm like, it actually takes me away from being at the register dealing with angry customers. So I'm like, hey, yo, well, how many trash bags you want me to carry? 10 of them? Okay, let's carry 10 of them. All right, 5 for you, 5 for me. So, but anyways, but no, there was this one cook. But that dude though, he would do some like wild stuff. I remember there was this one cashier that started working there. She had asked for like 2. So I think she had asked for like 2 patties or some stuff like that for a burger that they had for the week, and he only gave her 1. And so like the girl like was, I feel like that's kind of like rude to like really talk on like somebody's like weight and things, but I'm like, if I'm obviously talking on that, then it's like I'm pretty sure everybody knows like the situation and things. But anyway, so she asked for 2 patties. He only gave her 1. She was asking for 2. He was refusing to give her another patty. And I'm like, fam, what? Like, like, my thing is just like, okay, if you're worried about a person's weight, like develop a friendship with this person, be cool with them, and then that's when you like build up that like courage and confidence to like be like, hey, as a friend, I am worried about you, okay? I do not want you to be in a situation where you can't move around, you're not mobile, because the woman did have kids. And so I'm like, my thing is like, yeah, I would be, but that girl, she did some wild stuff too. I remember one time I was like, that was a time where I couldn't even eat my food. She's like sitting in front of me picking scabs. And I'm like, hey, yo, look, like, that's something where it's like, because I know if I say something, then it's going to come off as being rude. So, but I'm like, in a situation like that, I'm like, well, what do you really expect from me? Like, of course I'm going to be rude in a situation like that. That was like one thing that like not everybody, but like from customers to employees, they will always do some like wild or nasty stuff. Employees would be blowing their nose, other people would be blowing their nose and stuff. And then she would pick her scabs, and then other like customers would be blowing their nose like right there when you're eating your food. And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to hear all the snot that you've been building up this morning being blown out your nose and stuff. Like, I'm trying to eat my eggs, okay? Can I just eat my scrambled eggs without thinking that my scrambled eggs is your snot? I'm not trying to, no, I'm like, that's just nasty. So I'm like, please, like, go to the bathroom or go outside. Like, go to an area where I don't hear that's why I'm like, man, listening to music honestly got me through, but you couldn't really listen to music anymore because there was I guess like some guy at a different location. He was like walking through the back with his headphones in. He bumped into somebody, and I guess some like hot grease had got on him or something like that. So they banned like headphones from being around and stuff. I mean, you can like listen to them on your break, but other than that, like, while working, nah. It was like, well, obviously, I can't be a cashier listening to my music. But, like, even, like, after the day when we're just cleaning up the whole cafe, we couldn't listen to our music unless we would be blasting it out loud for everybody and stuff. So, yeah, it was pretty messed up. But anyway, speaking on different locations, so there was a time, my goodness, that's when I was all like, hey, look, like, if you guys want me to be going back and forth to places, first I'm going to need a key card, and then second I'm going to need some help if you guys are going to have me, like, carrying, like, an overload of stuff, and then we're going to need some new carts. I'm like, so there was a day where I guess like the Coca-Cola delivery person had messed up and they delivered all of the drinks to like one location. So guess who had to go to all three locations and like pretty much like deliver the Cokes to the rightful areas and stuff. And I'm like, I don't understand why like dude couldn't have just made a U-turn and then just because I'm like that ain't my job to deliver Coke. My job is to be a cashier. I like how things was just getting added as I worked there, and I'm like, bro, I don't understand that. So, but anyways, so the Coca-Cola person delivered all the drinks to one area. So all of them is like on one big cart. All right, one big cart. So they did the like one like good thing was like wrapping it with saran wrap. So like cuz the area that I worked at, like the sidewalks was a little like bumpy and messed up and things. So they did do me the justice of like wrapping it with saran wrap, making sure that it didn't like fall off or anything. So yeah, so overall I was like, okay, cool. I appreciate that, I guess. But what they didn't realize what they did was that they put it on a broken cart. So the cart, when I was going like up this sidewalk, like it wasn't like a steep sidewalk, but it was like kind of like a little elevated a little bit, like on the treadmill. Let's say if it was like level 1 or 2, like that level of elevation, all right, not like full max where I'm like walking up a hill, but it was like a tiny little elevation. But anyways, so I'm walking up, and then the cart started like bending to the side. And so I'm already like sweating, looking like I just played 3/4 with Michael Jordan, sweating and things, just like looking downright crazy. So I'm having to hold the cart up and push it up the sidewalk at the same time. So I get all the way to one location. Now the other two, well, I remember it was like, I think like the final couple of years of working at my location, then that's when they started tripping about carts coming through the main lobby. But yeah, they tripped on that. And so so I was going to the one location. This was like a location that was like down the street from my job. They were both like down. Well, one was across and another one was down. But anyways, I'm going to the one down the street from my job. And so I go to the lobby. Guy stops me and was all like, hey, you're going to have to go around back to the freight elevator because I'm going to get in trouble. And I'm all like, I don't care if you get in trouble. Like, that's what I wanted to say. But once again, attitude, TMossBoss couldn't have came out right then and there because I'm like, yo, this man cool. Like the times I have came through here, we've always like, nodded and said what's up to each other. So I'm all like, okay, if you were somebody with an attitude, probably would have had to hit you with a cross and went through them elevators anyway. But I'm all like, you know what? Nah, like you cool, all right? So, but I'm tired at this point. And so I walked all around this building. And then that's one of the things that they didn't give me, and I'm like, okay, that's how you know that my that whole delivering stuff back and forth, that was added on afterwards. Because I'm like, okay, nobody ain't told me that I was going to have to be delivering things back and forth. Because if so, then that's when I would have asked for a key card when I started working there. Because I'm like, yo, I don't want you guys to have me delivering things. And then out of nowhere, just, I don't have no key card. And so I'm like stuck. And that's what happened. That happened numerous times where I would get stuck, or I would have to ask one of the other people for a key card and be like, hey, can I use your key card real quick? But I don't want people to be thinking that I'm breaking in, because they're all like, wait a minute, black person with a white person's key card, and his shirt don't even look like it's fitted on him, because my shirt was a little bit large and stuff. So I was like, I don't like tight shirts, they make me feel uncomfortable. But anyways, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, this dude definitely breaking in or stealing some Coca-Colas or something. So anyways, I'm all like, hey, yo, y'all gonna have to give me a key card, because I'm like, I can't be going back and forth between places and stuff, and getting stuck or having to text you guys. And then there would be at times where I would be in a bad area, so I gotta walk in the middle of not in the middle of the street, but I gotta walk back out to the sidewalk, text you saying, hey, open up the freight elevator, because I'm coming up with all the drinks and all that crap, and then walk all the way back. I'm like, that's doing too much. Okay, so just give me a key card. So I'm like, boom, tapped it. I delivered your drinks. Now I'm going on about my way. But I'm telling you, the exercise, it was funny because I remember when I started working at that place, they told me that I wasn't allowed to use the gym. Forget the gym. I was getting a workout while working at the place. Shoot, constantly lifting things, constantly pushing things, cardio. Oh my God, I was constantly running around places, constantly I'm telling you, the naps afterwards, going home, felt so good. I'm like, man, them naps were amazing. I'm like, and then it was funny, like anything that happened like after work or, you know, at any given point in time, like I just didn't even have the energy to like feel a certain way. Like I'll never forget when this one girl, this is like outside of work, like this is like getting off topic, but it was like, it wasn't work related, but I was on the bus, so technically it was work related. But anyways, so I'm on the bus. I'm passed out asleep. But that's one thing that I always made sure was to use the bathroom before I left. So didn't do that day. And I remember when I was on the bus, I really had to go to the bathroom. I really did, but I went to sleep and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just sleep. And then if I still gotta go, I'm like, okay, it's dark outside because that whole daylight savings time crap. So I'm like, okay, it's dark outside. I'm about to just run in some bushes or behind a wall and just let it out, okay? Because I'm like, I'm wearing dark clothing. I'm black myself. Ain't nobody gonna see me. I'm gonna be hidden. They just gonna probably think it's a shadow or something. So anyways, so I'm on the bus, passed out, sleep. And this, like, I didn't even hear or feel the girl sit down next to me because I listen to my music while I'm on the bus. So it's like, it's just dark outside. I'm on this, like, warm, vibrating bus. And it feels like you're in one of them, like, mall seats, like, in, the, like, you know, like, where they be vibrating and things. So I'm like, I'm just on the bus, just chilling, sleep. I start waking up. I feel my whole pants leg wet. I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, bro, I done peed on myself on this bus. But I'm like, the question, I'm like, how did I not feel myself? I wasn't even dreaming about peeing. So I'm like, bro, what just happened? I'm like, wait a second. Why does the pee smell like wine? I'm like, I don't even drink wine. I don't even drink alcohol that much. So I'm like, what? So then the lights came on. I see the girl, like, what she has, like, it was like one of those, like, little, like, wine, like, juicy box, like, type things or something. Like, I don't know. But anyways, it was like a wine box thing, and she spilled it. I was like, man, I'm telling you, like, after a long day of work, and then over here thinking that I am peed, I'm like, realizing that it was just her wine. Like, she probably thought that I was, like, crazy or something, because I was all like, she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, hey, you know what? Don't even trip, okay? Like, we all need a drink once in a while, so I'm like, don't even trip. You know what? I hope you have another one at your house. I'm like, I'm more so worried that I'm mad that you didn't spilled it now. Like, now you gotta drink another one. And it's like, because you didn't spill half of the one on my pants leg and stuff. So, yeah, I was like, you know what? I was like, I could care less if people think that I'm an alcoholic. Because I was like, yeah, I was smelling like wine. I came home, everybody was just like, why you smell like wine? I'm just like, hey, look, I'm like, it's, long day. I'm like, just long day. But anyways, but yeah, I'm like, that's what that job would do to you. Like, you would think in a situation like that, like, I've been mad, like, I've been upset, like, heated and all that stuff. And the crazy thing about it, I was wearing some Vans, so the wine didn't like drip down to like my shoes or anything, but I was wearing Vans, so I was like, I can care less, like, if it's some Vans or something, them like my beat 'em up shoes anyways. So if it had been like some Jordans and then the wine would have stained, then that's when I had been like, hey, you know what? If you see me on this bus again, don't you ever sit next to me. I'm like, if you got water, I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, but if you got wine, you sit in the front, you sit anywhere, you sit outside the bus, okay? Just do not sit next to me. I don't care if it's the only seat left on the bus. If I'm asleep, wake me up. I will get off on the next stop and I will wait for the next bus. But I'm like, do not. But I was like, that's if it had been some Jordans. If it had been some Jordans, I've been like, yeah, please, just don't look at me right now. I'm long day, and now you done stained my Jordans. I'm like, yeah, just don't, please, just, no, I can't do it no more. So, but yeah, that job was draining, like, to where it's like, you couldn't feel happiness, you couldn't feel anger, you couldn't feel sadness. Like, I was like, bruh, that job, man, it would drain you. I'm all like, I don't know how that job did that, but it did that. So I was like, man, that job, though, it was wild at times, but other days, I was like, man, they're like them slow days. That's why I always look forward to a slow day, a day where I can just chill there. Because I'm like, man, when you're dealing with, like, when you're ringing up, like, hundreds of customers, like, every single day. And then, like, then there might be a time where a customer might waste something, spill something. Now you got to clean that up. Like, at times, it just, there was this one lady, I remember she spilled coffee, twice. I remember she spilled coffee grounds, and then I remember she spilled, liquid and stuff, like, all over the place. And like I said, like, you know, you couldn't even really like feel no anger towards that type of stuff. Like anybody else, I felt like would have been like, oh my God, like why do they not know how to, you know? Me, I was just all like, oh, it happens. Like, you know, it's one of those things like, hey, don't trip about it. Get you another cup, you know, go about your day and things. I'm all like, I ain't got the time or energy to be, because I'm like, my thing is like, okay, if I'm mad, then that means like, you know, work day is just gonna be just hectic and it's just gonna be crazy. If I just show no emotions at this place, then like it's just gonna be one big blur. So I'm like, hey, I'm willing to deal with that versus being mad and angry about certain crap. So anyways, yeah, that job, it was wild. It was very, very wild. You know, from employees to well, not so much employee. Like for the most part, like yeah, especially like once when I had left, like were like because of COVID and stuff. Like the team that we had was pretty solid. Like I mean, the team had been solid for a while. And then yeah, it was like afterwards, it was like oh. But no, there was a time though where cashier she quit because like the management there, they were really trying to so she was sick. And like my thing is like look, like it's hard and draining because I feel like management, like they just didn't know how much, like if you work like as a cashier for a long period of time, like a sick day, like you need that day, okay? You honestly need that day. So this girl, she like shout out to my friend Jamila because that's who it was. She had worked at that place for maybe was it over? I'm trying to think, was it over a year or less than a year? Okay, well let's just say it was a year. She worked there for a year, and there was a day where she had got sick, and so it was, you know, it was like every day would be hectic there. So when she told me that she was, I remember, I think she told me the day prior, like she wasn't feeling too good. So I'm like, hey, if you need to take the day off tomorrow, be my guest. You know, like it's gonna like we're gonna be all right. So it's like don't trip about it and things. And so, anyways, so she did take the day off, and then she was gone the next day. And then I think at some point in time, I can't remember how I found out. I can't remember because she also worked not too far from that place at a different place. And I remember I went in there to ask her like what's, I think I might have went in there to ask her. I can't remember how I found out, but then eventually she told me that she quit. And because they wasn't trying to like, they were trying to say that she took a vacation day, and she was like, "No, I'm sick. Like, can you like have it?" Because I think like if it's a vacation day, you won't get paid for it, but if it's a sick day, you'll get paid for it. So they wasn't trying to pay her, and it's like that girl's been putting in work like literally every single day. Like, how come y'all can't just like, what's up with that? Like, like you know, times is getting hard. Like, like what you guys need to pay the electricity bill or something? Like, what's going on here? And so yeah, they would do like crazy things like that, and I'm like, how does that work? I'm like, the girl is sick. I'm like, you guys be literally taking vacation days to do whatever y'all want to do. And I'm like, this girl's sick for a day. And the crazy, so she said she was feeling better. Like, I think it was like that next day or the day, afterwards. And, she was going to come back. But once when she had seen that they wasn't going to pay her, then that's when she was like, oh yeah, I'm not, she said she wasn't coming back. So I was like, hey, more power to you. I'm all like, you one of the lucky ones. I'm like, I wish I was in your position. But yeah, I was like, man, they would do things like that. What else would they? Oh, then I think that, did I mention that in the last episode? I remember they wrote me up. So, because I think the cash register will always be short. And I'm all like, what is that? Oh, I did mention that because I was like, I think that's how I started talking on the cash register and stuff. And so, yeah, that cash register, man, it done, man, traumatized me. I'm like, if I see a cash register like that again, if I ever get a job at some other place, I'm all like, that's why I'm hoping, you know, YouTube does well, so I ain't got to worry about that no more. Because I'm like, I don't ever want to see one of them cash registers again. Even if I'm like being rung, I'm all like, hey, I'm like, if I go to a place and they got those cash registers, I'm like, all right, look, it ain't nothing with this business. It ain't nothing with you, but I'm like, it's this cash register. I don't ever want to see a cash register like that again. So I'm like, if you can ring me up on a different cash register that's more modern than this one, I would appreciate that. But anyways, what other thing? Oh yeah, then I remember there was one time where my manager. So the thing, I can't remember like what I had did, but I remember I had like left like the cat. I can't, man. I'm trying to think like what did we might have been closed. We might have been closed, and then I think I went off somewhere to do something real quick, but I had left the register open. So it was like, if anybody would have taken anything, it would have been one of the employees. Plus, we had like a camera that was like right there underneath the register. So I'm all like, all right, if somebody takes something, I think I wasn't even gone for that long period of time. Like, I was gone for like maybe a little bit. And so after this, I'm gonna like end it off. I might do a part 3 because I'm like, I still feel like that I was like, holding back, and I still feel like that there are some things that I can talk on and stuff. That's what I need to do. I was like, I need to contact one of the other employees. I'm like, hey, you want to just be on the episode real quick and just talk about your experience working at this place? But but no. So I left, came back. And then I think it was he was like the head. Well, he wasn't the head manager, but he was like the longest like running manager that worked at the cafe and stuff. Like, cause I think he started working there maybe it was me and him. We were like the only two that had been working there for the longest. And so he had started working there, I think a couple of months prior before me. But after that, it was like we were going through like managers like left and right. Cause it was after the one manager, the one that I like, Adam. He was chill, but he ended up leaving to go to Starbucks. And then like every other manager after that, like we had like there was like the one manager, Shannon, she was solid. She stayed there up until like the last few final days. And then there was like some but then we kind of like was like just transitioning through like managers and stuff. So anyways, but no, so the one manager, so I guess he realized I was gone. Like he came out like in that short amount of time, that's when he came out and seen that I wasn't at the register. And so I go in the back, I think, to count the till and stuff to make sure it's like, I think it was like $300 because we always had to do that. And so then he's talking to me, and he's just like, yeah, you can't leave the register like out exposed like that. And I'm like, oh, my fault, man. I just had to, go do something real quick. I was like, it was like a last minute decision and things. And so it was critical. I had to do this. I can't remember what I did, but I remember it was critical. I'm like, I wouldn't just abandon the register like that if it wasn't. So I was like, so we're, he's in the back, like talking to me about it and things. And the one thing that he said, that was all like, you were on a good track of like, talking to me about this. Now you just lost me. So he's talking to me about it, like saying like, oh, you can't leave the register like out and exposed like that. Like you wouldn't leave a register out in the hood, would you? I'm like, fam, what does the hood have to do with why? I'm like, I've never even been born, raised, lived nowhere near a hood. So I'm like, fam, what is you talking about? Like, where does that even come from? And so yeah, once I told everybody else that, because I was like, oh yeah, like when things went down, like we will always tell each other like what just happened, what was just being said, and we will always be shocked by like what just said. So he ended up like the manager, he ended up going somewhere else. So all like the cooks and cashiers and everybody, they were like in the back, just chilling and talking. So I come back there and I was just like, and told them what he said, and a lot of them had laughed. And then everybody else was all like, no, he didn't. He didn't say that. We know he would say some stuff like that, but he didn't say that. Like, he didn't actually say it. Like, he said something along those lines, but he didn't actually. I'm like, no, he actually said it. Like, I don't think you guys understand, but yeah, that was one of those days. And so from there, like after that, those guys, that was like always like their thing with me and stuff. Like we'll be talking, and then they'll be like telling me something or talking about something. They're like, oh, you wouldn't do that in the hood, would? And from there, it was just like that's how like a bond was just growing, where it's like stuff like that would be said, and it was literally the funniest thing ever. I'm like, man, that's funny. I'm like, I just don't understand where that came from, but he said it, and I was all like, man, that is some wild stuff. He did say and do some wild things there. I remember there was a point in time, because me and him, we didn't really see eye to eye, and that was when I think back on that, I was all like, man, I was very, very rebellious working at that place. I'm surprised I was like one of the longest like running cashiers there, because I'm like, man, I'm surprised. I'm like, I truly am. But no, there was a time where he was walking out with this box, and so he's walking out, and he could have, my thing, what he was, I guess, trying to do was tell me to like put the box away, which he did, but my thing is like, hey, if you're gonna like have me put something away, like walk up to me and put it on like the shelf thing that was like on the side, or put it on the table that was in front of me, or put it on the other shelf that was on the side of me. There was like 2 shelves that was on the side of me. So I'm like, you could have put it on any of those shelves. You could have walked up to me and handed it to me real quick, and then I could have threw it down on the floor. No, what he does, he was like, he's walking out. He looks me in my face. Because I see him walking out. I'm just like, what's he doing? And so I'm like looking at him. He throws the box down. While he's making eye contact with me, throws the box down on the floor. And he's like, can you put this away? So I'm just kind of standing there just looking at him. I didn't even say anything. I was just standing there just looking at him. I'm like, really? Like, that's what you're doing right now. I'm like, that's what you're, honest to God, like, that's what you're doing right now. So me and him, we're just kind of having a standoff. And then the supervisor, she's kind of like looking, her face, because I was like kind of see her in the corner of my eye, but I was still just making just dead on eye contact with him. And she was like, I'll put it away. I'll put it away. And so then that's, I think I just put my head down and then just continued. I think I was like working on the register or doing something. But yeah, I was like, I'm not putting that box away. I'm like, I'm sorry. And I understand that you're my supervisor and he's my manager, but I'm not putting that box away. So I'm like, somebody else going to have to do it. I mean, you agreed to do it, but if you were just saying that just so I can, no, I'm not putting that box away. I'm like, he very well could have walked up to me and handed me the box. If you're going to throw the box down on the floor, I'm not putting that box away. So I'm like, I don't care, you the manager, head manager, president of the United States. I'm not putting that box away. I'm like, you very well could have handed me that box, but you threw it like down on the floor. He didn't like straight just like slam it, but he like tossed it down on the ground and was like, can you put this away? I'm like, I don't think it's gonna work like that. That ain't gonna happen. Negatives and positives don't equal to no positive, and that's not no positive. That ain't gonna have a positive outcome. So I'm like, if I put it away, I'm gonna like, I don't know. There's like a like, it wasn't a balcony, but it was like a thing, like a viewing outside, but it was like people can walk across. I'm like, that's where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna make sure I find a way, get a ladder from Lowe's, do something. I'll climb all the way up to that ladder, put that box clean out on that roof part of where we can look out at. And I'm all like, you told me to put it away? I put it away. It just so happened to be outside. So I'm like, you guys want it? Hey, there's a ladder at Lowe's that can reach up to this part. And yeah, you guys can do it like that. But I'm not putting that box where you want me to put that box. I'm like, unless you hand it off to me and ask me nicely. But yeah, I had an issue. So, but yeah, that was all like, man, that was... But no, me and that guy though, like, I don't want people to think like things ended off on like bad terms. Like, me and that manager, like, things ended off like pretty cool between us. I remember it was like, yeah, we would talk with each other, crack jokes, you know, talk about each other's days and stuff. This was like, cause it was like early on, like I did say, I was like a little bit rebellious and, you know, had a bit of an attitude issue, but yeah, like the final like few like months working there and stuff, things was pretty solid between me and him. So it was yeah, like it wasn't always crazy. Like it was just that time frame of like I think it was like maybe like the first like 2 years like working out there and stuff. But other than that, like 2019 was like, it was kind of like a like not a blur like year, but it was just a year with like nothing crazy didn't really happen. And then like 2020, of course, like, you know, COVID hit, and yeah, I remember me and him, we kind of talked for a little bit on our like last couple of days and stuff about like the virus and work and all of that stuff. And so yeah, things was pretty solid between me and him, but it was just, yeah, it was just a little bit hectic and crazy, you know. But anyways, I'm trying to think, like, maybe I might do a part 3. Like I said, I might, I don't know. But anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. If you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're viewing this on the podcast streaming, excuse me, on streaming service, make sure you follow or subscribe, however it's set up. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at TMossBoss. Like my Facebook page. I think it's like TMossBoss fan page or some stuff like that. And what else? Subscribe to me on YouTube, or any of my YouTube channels. I have like 31 YouTube channels, and you can check out any of them, whichever one looks appealing. And, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.